Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we are going to learn about polyethylene production and their application. Actually, this topic is further divided into two lectures, and today is the first part of that lecture. Today's lecture is all about polyethylene polymer. Basically, in this polymer, we are going to in this lecture we are going to discuss the brief introduction of polymer and their chemical structure, which kind of variations we can see in the chemical structure of polyethylene, just like we know about branching, cross-linking, these kind of things. And then we shall move to the production of polyethylene, that how it can be produced commercially or industrially. The last part is about the structure property relationship and their application, but we shall discuss this one in the next part of our lecture, that shall be our next class. Talking about polyethylene, we say that it's a light, versatile synthetic resin made from the polymerization of ethylene. General structure of polyethylene is shown here. It basically consists of a long backbone of covalently bonded carbon atoms, to each which is attached to the pair of hydrogen atom. If you see that, you can see here that basically the basic repeating unit is CH2CH2, but these CH2CH2 are identical, so we say that it can be named as polymethylene due to repeating CH2 groups. So sometimes we call it polymethylene too, but that is not very common. There are numerous variants on this basic structure that fall under the general umbrella of polyethylene. Modification to general structure includes short and long branches, cross-linking, and a variety of terminal groups are available. Basically, branches may consist of simple hydrocarbon chains or other more complex structure, but because the basic structure of polyethylene stays the same, so we categorize all such type of polymers as polyethylenes. And this is a thermoplastic polymer with variable crystalline structure and an extremely long range of application. When we talk about the chemical structure of polyethylene, then there are 7 principal variants of polyethylene which are shown systematically, enlisted here. They are named as high density polyethylene, low density polyethylene, then it could be linear low density polyethylene or very low density polyethylene. And there is a copolymer of polyethylene, that is ethylene vinyl acetate copolymer, also known as ethylene vinyl ester polymer, cross-linked polyethylene, and ionomer. When we talk about high density polyethylene, as you can see here in the figure, that these high density polymers, they consist primarily of linear hydrocarbon chains of this type. They are not that much cross-linked together, and we commonly abbreviate its names to HDPE. And in these polymers, high density polyethylenes, they contain a distribution of molecular weight. The distribution of molecular weight is very precise, and these molecules have few, if any, branches. It means that the branches are very few. We can't rule out the presence of branches, but they are very few. About low density polyethylenes. Basically, low density polyethylene has the general structure shown here. Its molecule contain many short and long chains. The short branches primarily consist of ethyl and butyl branches, which are often located near each other. These short branches, because of its low density, we call it as LDPE, and it is abbreviated as LDPE. Low density polyethylene is polydiapers in terms of its molecular weight, long chain branching length, and short chain branching. When we talk about linear low density polyethylenes, then the general structure you can see here. Linear low density resins are copolymers of ethylene and 1-alkenes. 1-alkene, actually ethylene is also sort of 1-alkene, but when we talk about 1-alkene, then principally 1-butene and 1-hexene or 1-octene can be used as a copolymer with ethylene. Co-monomer level range from approximately 2 to 8 mole %. This family of polyethylene is widely known as LLDPE, and linear low density polyethylenes, these are polydipers with respect to molecular weight and branch distribution. When we talk about polydipers then there is a terminology we use that we call it as polydiversity index. Normally polydiversity index is used to determine the molecular weight distribution in the polymer chains. Just like if all the chains they have same molecular weight, that is the ideal case, but normally it doesn't happen. When we talk about such kind of polymers, we say that its polydiversity could be 1. So mostly what happens that polydiversity it can't be 1, and the diversity of molecular weight it is different from chain to chain. So we have some kind of numerical value to represent this polydiversity. So this is the way we compare one polymer manufacturing to another. We have discussed the you can say that linear low density polymers, but here comes the very low density polyethylenes. In very low density polyethylene, the general structure is shown here. We also call this type of polymers as ultra low density polyethylene. So from very low density polyethylene or ultra low density polyethylene comes the abbreviation as VLDPE or ULDPE. So in these type of polymers, it is just like linear low density polyethylenes. These resins are copolymer of ethylenes and 1-alkenes. But the difference comes in that polymer it was 2 to 8 mole percent ratio of these comonomers, but in this case 8 to 14 mole percent comonomers are used. We normally say that these molecules have very low density and they contain distribution of lengths and branch placements. Next comes the ethylene vinyl ester copolymer. In case of ethylene vinyl ester copolymer, the most common, we say that the structure is shown here, and we say that the most common copolymer of this type is ethylene vinyl acetate, which we normally refer to as EVA. This type of polyethylene, in this case ester branches are indicated by the symbol VA. As you can see here that here we have some ester branches and they are also connecting the two branches. This family of copolymer is commercially available, containing vinyl acetate concentration up to approximately 25 mole percent. It means the copolymer ratio is larger, as you can say greater than the linear low density polyethylenes are very low density polyethylenes. In addition to randomly distributed ester branches, these resins also contain short and long branches that are characteristics of low density polyethylene. And the other type of polyethylenes, basically these are all polyethylenes. Their main structure is the main repeating unit is ethylene unit, but there are few structural modification, and because of these modification their their properties are greatly varied within the specified range. So these cross-linked polymers consist of molecular chains that are linked at random points to form a network. These cross-links can consist of carbon-carbon bonds which directly link adjacent chains, or it could be short bridging species such as siloxanes which may link 2, 3 or 4 chains. We often refer these materials as XLPE. We shall learn about how we can introduce cross-linking in in polyethylenes. In case of the last you can say the structural category of polyethylene is ethylene ionomer. And ethylene ionomers basically they consist of a copolymer of ethylene with an organic acid. Organic acid used here, it could be methacrylic acid. Methacrylic acid has, if you connect a vinyl group with a carboxyl group, then it looks like then it makes methacrylic acid. Basically, if you neutralize the carboxyl group of methacrylic acid with some positive cation, you make a metal salt. So the acid moieties of salt which have been neutralized to form a metal salt, and these metal salts they form neighboring chains to form clusters. Just like you have, because we are using this methacrylic acid type of copolymer with ethylene, so these you can say these carboxylate groups, they form a you can say a cluster type of structure, and the net result is overall structure that you can show in the below figure mentioned here, in which ionic cluster form weak crosslink between adjacent chains. Just like we have a chain, we have 2 or 3 chains, and they are carboxylate groups that are linked together, and in this type of cluster is formed. So ionomer also contains short and long branches which are similar to those found in low density polyethylenes. Okay, coming to the main part of this lecture, that is the production of polyethylene. We can make polyethylene resin using 2 basic types of chain growth reaction. One of them is free radical polymerization, and the other one is coordination catalysis. We use free radical polymerization to make low density polyethylenes, ethylene vinyl ester copolymers, and ethylene acrylic acid type of polymer. And we can make ethylene ionomers from these ethylene acrylic acid type of copolymers. Basically, we employ coordination catalysts to make high density polyethylenes, linear low density polyethylenes, and very low density polyethylenes. In case of ethylene acrylic acid copolymers, we know that we can convert these polymers to ethylene ionomers in a separate post polymerization reaction. This polymerization process, one of the production way is through free radical polymerization. And free radical polymerization, it consists of 4 basic steps that we know as initiation, propagation, chain transfer, and termination reaction. And in basically chain transfer involves intermolecular or intermolecular reaction, and long and short chain branches can be created through chain transfer reaction. And you may be familiar with initiation, propagation, or termination, but we shall study them here. Like when we talk about initiation, the polymerization process is initiated by the decomposition of molecules such as trace amount of oxygen or organic peroxide to form free radicals. Spontaneous decomposition of initiator occurs at temperature of approximately, we can use temperature like 180 to 200 degrees Celsius, or pressure around 1000 to 1500 atmospheric pressure can be used to initiate this free radical formation through initiators. The free radicals, they attach themselves to ethylene molecule, transferring their unpaired electrons to the opposite end of monomer, which initiates the formation of polyethylene molecule. So this was about the initiation of through in the step in the free radical polymerization. Then what happens that during propagation, it proceeds as ethylene monomers, they attached sequentially to the growing polymer chain, and in the next step, that is we know as, you can say that chain transfer, it occurs all the way, and in chain transfer it occurs when free radical is transferred to another ethylene molecule, thereby terminating the growth of one chain and the beginning of another. In the long run, termination, it involves the quenching of 2 growing chain ends, either to form a single molecule or by disproportionation reaction form 2 separate chains. Disproportionation is basically in this reaction we say that self-oxidation or reduction reaction. That is, from one chain you can say that one is oxidized and one of them is reduced. Here comes this is what we discussed in the previous slide, As you can see that they have used R radical as an initiator. So this R radical comes from the initiator molecule, and then initiator we talked that it could be some peroxide or it could be oxygen, traces of oxygen present in the polyethylene sample. When this initiator it reacts with ethylene molecule, then the free radical is transferred to CH2 group, and then this CH2 it acts as a you can say that it involves in the chain reaction in the propagation step. It reacts with another molecule, and then this reaction goes on and the chain elongates. There is a reaction involved during this propagation step. We call it chain transfer reaction, and we discussed that in chain transfer reaction that it can happen that this free radical can react with another molecule of ethylene, or it transfer this radical there, and then it goes into the neutral form. It could be like it abstract hydrogen radical from the ethylene, and then we get this CH3 type of end group in this chain. And then this radical, the other radical generated, it can react, it can further initiate reaction in other monomers, and the reaction is terminated when two radicals they combine together. It could be the same radical we generated in chain transfer, or it could be the two polymer chains, growing ends of polymer chains combining together to form one chain, or you can say a part of small molecule. As you have seen in the chemical structures of polyethylenes, then you may have felt that the branches have a very important role in the categorization of these polyethylene. So how these branches they can form, and how we can categorize them as being long or small chain, short chain branches. So there are few processes that are involved in the formation of these branches. You can say that in case of long branches, we say that this type of branches occurs when an unpaired electron at the growing chain attacks a pre-existing polyethylene molecule, okay, and then abstracts a hydrogen atom to create an unpaired electron that is removed from the polymer's end. It is just like that if you have a growing chain and then there are some CH2, you can say the repeating units are present in the other part of the polymer chain, and it extracts proton from there, and then how it goes that that part of the chain it becomes active or growing part of the polymer, and this is how long chain branches are produced. Because the first growing end it has been converted into the terminal, or you can say into a long branch. And when we talk about these long branches, then chain growth can proceed from this non-terminal carbon to form a long chain branch too. The explanation of what we discussed in the previous slide, as you can see here, that there are two you can say the polymer chains. One has this growing part, and the other has these monomer units, repeating units, and then this growing end reacts with the CH2 and abstract proton, and then converts the long chain into another active growing part in the middle of the chain. And the other one was that chain growth from non-terminal carbon, just like if you have a monomer, and then you can say that this one is also non-terminal carbon, just like in the first part it was in the middle of the we have generated this middle of we have generated free radical in the middle of this chain, and then this chain reacts with number of monomers, and then there comes another part of the chain. We call it as long chain branch. Let's discuss how short branches can be introduced in polyethylene chains. Basically, there are two ways short branches can be introduced. Short branches are formed in polyethylene chains. One of them is backbiting, and the other one is the same one we talked about we talked in long chain branches formation, that is chain growth from non-terminal carbon. In case of backbiting, what happens that we have a growing end of a polyethylene chain, then this it happens that create the short chain branches in a way that growing end of a polyethylene chain, it turns back on itself and abstract a proton, you can say a hydrogen atom basically, because proton has no electron, but in case of hydrogen atom we say it's a free radical. So hydrogen atom is abstracted from the carbon atom located 4 bonds away from the chain end. So in this way chain proceeds from the newly formed unpaired electrons, leaving a pendant butyl group. There are many variants of backbiting which create a variety of short chain branches. And if you think about this thing, that if you have a butyl group and there is a new growing part in the middle of the chain, then you say that this growing part, it can further involve in the chain growth. So this is chain growth. Basically this is the chain growth from non-terminal carbon atom. We can also incorporate branches by co-polymerizing ethylene with vinyl ester or vinyl acids. In addition to their ester or acid side groups, these copolymer also contain the long and short branches, which are characteristics of low density polymer. So here is the schematic representation of what we talked in the previous slide. In case of backbiting, this carbon, the growing end, it abstract proton, it abstract hydrogen radical, free radical from the fourth, you can say the fifth carbon atom, and then the butyl branch is produced as a result, and the growing end is shifted to another carbon atom, almost the fifth carbon atom from the end, and then this carbon atom, it can further involve in the polymerization reaction. So this is basically is the chain growth from the non-terminal carbon atom, and it has produced a butyl branch as a result. And in case of this free radical polymerization, so we said that it can result in low density polyethylenes, but basically these low density polyethylenes, they can be made at high pressure in one of the two types of continuous reactors. One of them is autoclave reactor and the other one is tubular reactor. The autoclave reactor, these are large stirred pressure vessels which rely on chilled incoming monomers, and basically the use of this chilled monomer feed is to remove the heat of polymerization. In contrast to autoclave reactors, we have tubular reactor which consist of long tubes with almost diameter of 2.5 centimeter. Means their diameter is very less, where their lengths are almost 600 meters in they are almost 600 meter in length. So it means they are very long tubes, but they, because of this thing, they have high surface to volume ratio, so it is very easy to exchange heat with the external environment. So therefore we can say that external cooling is used to remove the heat of polymerization. So basically there is another way by which we can using that we can make polyethylenes. Basically these are coordination catalysts. These are having a metal atom that is activated by a variety of electron withdrawing species that are attached to it. These coordination catalysts for polyethylene, they fall into three main categories. One of them is Ziegler-Natta catalyst, the other one is single site catalyst, and the third one is metal oxide catalyst. Within each category there are many variants, and these are also hybrids also present which combine chemical structures borrowed from more than one family of catalysts. It means there could be a combination of these two catalysts. Talking about Ziegler-Natta catalysts, basically these are the catalysts that have one metal from group 1, 2 or 3, and they are combined, or they are connected to halide or alkyl part, and they have a salt, and they are complex with a salt of transition metal from group 4 or group 8. Just like you can see in the example where titanium is connected with 4 chlorides, and there is a alkyl group on it too. But in this case too, there is an empty or vacant site available, and we say that it has an active site available on it. And in most of the Ziegler catalysts, the active site consists of there may be one or more active site present. The active site consists of a titanium atom coordinated with 4 chlorine atoms and an alkyl group, which are arranged octahedrally to leave a vacant site. What happens that ethylene molecule attach itself to the vacant site and is inserted between the metal atom and an alkyl group via transition complex. In this process, a new vacancy is created. And you can see here that when there is a transition complex is formed where ethylene is in transition with this R and titanium, R transfers to ethyl part, and then there is a new vacancy is generated on this titanium, and again a new monomer can insert on this position, and then again transition complex will form, and then this process goes on. Okay, when we talk about single site catalysts, then they differ from Ziegler-Natta catalysts in that they contain only one type of active site, and therefore they produce polymers with more uniform distribution of molecular weight. Basically, this is the basic drawback of Ziegler-Natta catalyst, that they have many active sites present, and what happens that we in turn or in as a result of this thing, we get a blend consisting of higher molecular weight polymers that have few short chain branches and shorter molecules that have high concentration of short chain branches. As you can say that we have a very broad spectrum of molecular weight distribution. But in case of sites like single site catalysts, these polymer molecular weights can be controlled, and we have polymers with uniform weight distribution and also composition. And their density ranges from 0.87 to 0.93 grams per centimeter. We can use these single site catalysts primarily to make copolymers of ethylene and 1-alkene. With densities we have talked about, and most recently some higher density grades have also been introduced, but these are relatively uncommon at the moment. But normally low density polymer are formed for this type. In case of metal oxide catalyst, there are few companies they use metal oxide catalyst too, and to make high density polyethylenes. The polyethylene made with this catalyst generally has a narrow molecular weight distribution than high density polyethylenes made with Ziegler-Natta catalyst. I mean, these both methods, like metal oxide catalyst or Ziegler-Natta catalyst, they make high density polymers, but in this case they have narrow molecular weight distribution, while in that of the Ziegler-Natta catalyst we already talked they have many active sites available, so their molecular weight distribution is basically broad. We typically divide cross-linked polymers or polyethylenes using one of the two different categories. We can either direct use cross-link between chains via free radical mechanism, or we can create short chemical bridges between chain. First, talking about the direct cross-linking, and we can use many different methods for that. One of them is radiation cross-linking. Direct cross-linking, it can be brought about by irradiation of a solid product with gamma radiation or high energy electrons. The radiation basically what it does, that it splits carbon hydrogen bonds to produce free radicals. These free radicals can migrate along the chain length of a chain by the process of hydrogen exchange. When two free radicals meet, they combine to form a covalent bond between the carbon atoms, creating a cross-link between adjacent chains. Just like you can see in the scheme here, that radiation, what does it do? That it abstracts a proton, it abstracts a free radical here, and then it leaves a growing part here, and then this part it goes, and we have here like you can say the migration. We have two parts here, and in these two parts it goes into the radical shift from one position to another, that is migration of radical. And then these two radicals, they what they do, that they combine together, and in that case CH is combined, and then there is a link, or cross link is formed between these two carbons, and we say that CC bond is formed. We can also produce these direct cross links by the addition of peroxy radicals. As you can see here, they are peroxy radicals. They are introduced using an initiator. We blend an organic peroxide, like we have our organic peroxide here, and this organic peroxide, such as diacumyl peroxide, into molten polyethylene at a temperature below that at which the peroxide decomposes. Once we have formed the molten blend into required shape, we increase its temperature until peroxide decomposes into peroxy radical. Just from by the heat, peroxy radicals are formed. Peroxy radicals abstract protons from the hydrogen atom from the polyethylene chains to create free radicals. We have got in the B step these free peroxy radicals. They extract hydrogen atom and it turns into free radical, and then these two chains containing free radicals, they combine together to form a carbon-carbon bond. That is the formation of cross-link between them. In talking about the last part, where we say that polyethylenes can be formed as a structural category, we call it as ethylene ionomers. They are made in two stages. First of all, we add a small amount of organic acid, that is just like a methacrylic acid, and then in the second part we neutralize the acid co-monomer to form metal salts. And we said that these metal salts, they form a you can say a network, sort of cluster type structure, and this type of network have a specific they have structural features, and so we call these as ethylene ionomers. Here is a reference book I use for this lecture. You can find this Ellison book on if you Google it, you can find its PDF. Otherwise, I will give you this PDF in the materials with the lecture. What I want you to do are the search for 4 different cross-linking agents names, and also they need not to be specific for polyethylenes, but you have to write 2 examples of coordination complexes used as a catalyst for polyethylene production, and they have to be specific for polyethylene.